Hey Pixies! Today we are doing a first impressions review of Revel's overlays. They came out with two clear overlays. One is called Radiance that glows a violet purple, and the other is Brillance, which glows an aqua. And you can use these two different ways. I'll explain in a little bit. We're going to use Revel's Imagine and Libra, which is a mood changer, Double Dip's Clear Dip Powder to encapsulate, and the Double Dip liquids, but I actually end up using Manny Boss Dip Base. We're also using Revel's Bette and Ice. And we are going to get started with Radiance, and we are going to put that underneath our dip powder on our index, middle, and pinky fingers. I'm using the Manny Boss base because my brush on my double dip base had hardened and I replaced it. So I just like to let it sit and not immediately use it. So I decided to use the Manny Boss base. I am pouring Radiance over and cleaning up the cuticle area with my toothpick, and this is the one that glows a violet color. And on the website you can get them individually for $8.49 or as a bundle for $15, which is what I did. You know I love my glow powders, so I had to get these, and I got them on Thursday, filmed this for you on Friday, and I'm going to upload it on Monday because I was so excited about these. So I am going to actually do two dips. On the website it says to do one dip and that you should put it underneath your glitter. I'm going to have that chunky glitter on these three fingers, so I wanted to put it underneath, and I'm actually doing two dips because I use peel base. Your first dip with dip liquids does not really have much powder stick to your finger, and I know I could put on a layer of my dip base and let it dry before getting started with my manicure, but I usually just go ahead and get started, see what sticks, and continue on. It doesn't usually cause me any bump issues or patchiness or anything like that. So for that second layer, I laid my finger into the powder, cleaned up the cuticle area, and now we're going to get started with our colors. So I am going to do a layer of ice on my index and pinky finger. If you've seen my chunky glitter video before, you know that I typically like to pick a color that is similar to my chunky dip and do one dip of that, so that I only need to do one dip of the chunky glitter, which really helps to make everything nice and thin. So I'm just applying that dip base, and once I have the whole nail coated, I'm going to lay my finger into ice and clean up that cuticle area, and that will be our base then for our chunky dip powder. So I'm going to do that on the pinky as well, and then we're going to be doing an ombre on the middle finger, so I actually use Bette on that one, which is a porcelain white. So I'll be doing that next, but I'm just doing that one good coat of ice, which I really like to do. Like I said, it keeps everything nice and thin, and that way if a spot on my nail is missing a little piece of glitter, it's not noticeable because that base layer of color is showing through and makes everything look completely filled in. So I'm just dusting off, and then we're going to apply this beautiful porcelain white. It is one of my favorite whites in the whole world. I've used it many times. I actually have used half of a container, which is pretty impressive because a lot of dips I only use once or twice, but this one I need to actually order more soon. So this is a porcelain white, and I have used this in several other videos. I used it in my very first YouTube video for the Mermaid nails, and I just applied that dip base and laid my finger into the color and cleaned up that cuticle area. It was good and saturated, so I didn't feel like I needed a second dip of it. We're going to actually be ombreing from the cuticle to the tip on that finger here in a little bit. This is Libra, which is a color changer. I wanted to use the two overlay powders in the two ways that it says that you can use them to compare how they glow, how they perform. I wanted to see how they were under a dip powder, on top, and it says that for solids you can put it on top of the nail. Now this actually has some fine glitter in it, but applying that Brillance overlay to the top of this did not affect being able to see that glitter. I think they mostly mean chunky glitter because that can get very cloudy if you do too many dips of clear or anything like that on top of it. So I am going to do 2 dips of Libra. This is a mood changer, and I don't know if it's because it's summer maybe and everything is so warm, but I have only noticed it change very lightly to a purple at the tips when I'm washing my hands. So you do see it whenever I apply the activator here in a little bit because the activator is so cold, but I am just laying my finger in there and we're going to tap off the excess and clean up the cuticle with the toothpick. And like I said, I've seen it change a little bit, and you will see it change with the activator, but I wasn't able to get a picture of the change because it is so subtle whenever I'm washing my hands or doing anything else. So the best representation here is when you see it change with the activator there. So I am going to put that away. We're going to dust everything off, and we're actually going to apply Brillance to Libra before we move on to our chunky glitter. So I am going to open that up, and we are going to apply it just like any other dip powder by applying our dip base, and then I'm going to pour it over top instead of dipping into it. So I want to pour it over top and clean up that cuticle area. I was a little nervous because it looks very white here, and it looked very white on my bare nails, so I was a little nervous about that, but you cannot tell I have anything on top. So from now on, every manicure will glow basically because I love glow dips. So I'm going to put that away. I just do the 1 dip since it's on top, and we are going to get started then here in a second with our chunky glitter. So I'm going to dust that off, and as far as the consistency, if you've used clear dip powder, you know it's a different consistency than a colored dip powder. So I would say it's in between. It's not quite as thin as a clear dip powder, the texture usually is, but it's not thick like a colored dip powder. So I really enjoyed these. I have a little video at the end. I turn out the lights and I show you the glow, and I will also insert a picture of the glow here at the end. But let's move on to Imagine. This is a chunky glitter with blue, purple, and pink. It is gorgeous. I've had this glitter for so long and cannot believe this is my first time using it. So I am just applying that dip base, and then I clean up the cuticle area immediately and move any of those pieces of glitter that might be over my skin off or to another spot, and then very lightly tap any pieces down. That way they are laying nice and flat. You want everything to be as flat as possible with your chunky glitters before you clear dip and then start buffing and filing. So I'm doing that same process on my index finger, cleaning up that cuticle area, moving any of those big pieces to another spot on my nail or completely off, and patting everything down. And there is a tiny spot on both of those fingers that have a tiny bump that I did not notice. So I'll show you how I take care of that here as we move on. I'll explain what I did for that. I did something at the clear dip powder and the activator stage. So now we're going to ombre our middle finger. So I am taking that dip base and I am applying that to the entire nail. And I am going to take the eyeshadow brush from Wet n Wild. I ordered it from Amazon. They're usually less than $1, but you can get them at the pharmacies and stuff like that too. And I'm picking up that powder with that eyeshadow brush and focusing it on the cuticle area. And then I slightly turn my finger downward and let it kind of fall naturally down the nail, and then I clean up that cuticle area and pat those chunky pieces down. I will be having videos coming up of a vertical glitter ombre and how to do that, as well as this ombre, a more dedicated video to doing these different ombres. So this one was just a little quick, but I will have dedicated videos for those coming soon. So I am going to put that away, and we are going to do our clear dips. So that is what it looks like so far. I love this manicure. I usually change my nails every 2 days or more, but this one I'm still wearing because it's gorgeous. I love it so much. And I'll probably insert a tiny video clip at the end as well of how it sparkles in the sunlight because it is unreal. So I dusted everything off really good with that stiff nail brush, and now I'm going to apply that dip base to each of the fingers and just do one quick dip of a clear dip powder. The clear dip powder will protect your colors and your glitters from buffing and filing. That way you're not getting any white spots or burning your dip powder, and you are not buffing or filing off any of your glitter pieces, because then they will look torn and damaged or completely silver because you buffed the color off. So I just do that one quick dip, and then I clean up the cuticle area. And I am going to do that on every finger. The middle finger I skipped because it was still slightly wet from our ombre, because that powder did not go on the entire nail. So I'm letting that dry before I do my dip because I need to brush off the excess. So that's why I skipped that finger. I will do that one last. And I'm going to apply that again to the pinky finger and then dip in. I do recommend, if you're able to have two clear dip powders, to have one that you use when you work with glitter and one that you use with solids. Now, I really try to keep them separate, but I always end up contaminating my clear one that I use for the solids with glitter. So I try, but it is a lot easier if you can keep them from getting contaminated. And on my pinky finger, I believe what I just was showing you was there's that little piece of glitter standing up. So as my clear dip powder with the base was drying, I kind of held that little spot down with the nail on my other finger just to have it dry a little bit more flat. And I really give everything a good dusting with that stiff nail brush before I apply activator. If you don't dust off, especially your glitters, really well, that activator can kind of soak that clear dip powder right into the nail, and then the excess does not come off. So we are going to apply, as you can see, that little bit of purple there at the tip of my finger from Libra is the color change. And we're going to apply the activator. I am pressing down that little spot that's giving me trouble, and it dries. You have a little bit of playtime before it completely dries, where it gets a little sticky. And there, watch again, there's a little bit of purple just at the very tip of my pink nails. If I had known that was happening, I don't think I could see it with the bright light until I watched the playback, but that is the color change for Libra. So I buffed, filed, and reshaped my nails, and we are going to apply our activator again and then wait about a minute, and we will apply our top coat. So I buff, filed, and reshaped, and then I like to use an alcohol prep pad to clean the dust off. Then I apply the activator, and now I'm using a paper towel to wipe off any excess activator, because if you don't do that, your top coat brush can harden. So I am going to apply as many as I need to. It's a little bit more with these bigger tips on, but I try to do as few brush strokes as possible and still cover the entire nail very quickly. And then you wait until it starts to look a little crinkly and starts to turn a little matte. And that's when you want to apply that second layer of top coat, which for double dip is about 30 seconds. And that's when you'll see it start to get a little matte and crinkly looking. It's not shiny anymore. So I give it a good 30 seconds. And then the second layer is much more detailed. You don't have to work as fast. You can cap your free ends. And this double dip top coat is so shiny. And if I have gotten this question before about mixing and matching products, and as far as the products that I've mixed and matched, it turns out perfectly fine. If you're concerned about it, you could always try it on a swatch stick. But as far as this, I used that Mani Boss dip base and then double dip activator and top coat, and everything was perfectly fine. So that should be okay for you, but you can always test it on that swatch stick if you're concerned about mixing and matching them. And I will link all the products below for you. I do have a discount code for double dip as well as some other companies, so everything will be in the description box. And I just love this manicure so much. Let me know what you think down below. And we're going to have a video here in just a second of the glow and the sparkle in the sunshine, which is also gorgeous. But I am going to give this a good 1 to 2 minutes to completely dry. And there's our finished manicure. I'm going to apply my Scales of Mermaid cuticle oil, and while I do that, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. To see more content, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. I have new videos every Monday and Thursday. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below or find me on Instagram at @dippingpixie. I'd love to see you over there as well. And here we're going to show the glow. There it is. Now it does glow a little bit better on the ones that I applied it on top of, but it's beautiful. And then this is the sparkle. That's it for this one, guys, and I will see you in the next one.